What's up, marketing team? It's Jamie here. So, this is going to be a discussion about domain and SEO agency research, just to update everyone on where Effi is right now. So, I'll send you guys the link to the PowerPoint, and you guys can just read along with me, like have the PowerPoint up and minimize me on the side or something like that, because I won't have the PowerPoint in this video. But you can click through it. I'll do like ding when we're changing to another slide, so you know when to click to another slide. So if you just want to start the presentation now, we can get started. Okay, so on the first slide, it's just our title, and what we're going to talk about is our domain and SEO agency research. But this is just to make sure that we're all on the same page and we all understand. So some of this might be repetitive for some people because we've already went over it, but I want to make sure everyone understands what's going on so no one's confused or left out. So ding, 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 next slide. We have a table of contents for our discussion today. It's going to be a little bit of a longer discussion, so bear with me. So our first subject is going to be what is actually a domain. And then what are subfolders and subdomains? Domain hosting websites, we have 3. GoDaddy, WordPress, AWS. And then Effi's 3 options for the future plans that we've discussed. The SEO Agency Offer and my personal projected timeline that can be adjusted based on people's suggestions that we can have after the presentation if you'd like. So, ding, click the next slide. We should be on slide 3. So, what is a domain? I have a neat little video over here from GoDaddy, which you can watch in your free time. There's a lot of videos associated with this. So, if you don't really get what's going on based on what I say, you can always just click on these videos and then maybe you'll get more what they say. Like, they might have closed captioning or subtitles that will help out. So what is a domain? A domain is basically another word for a URL. So it's the thing that you see at the top of the page, like www.cheezits or like, I don't know, www.potatoes.com or something. That is a domain. So domain is just a connection. It's not the page itself. The page is a website, which is a lot more difficult than a domain. A domain is just a name. And in Effi's case, we have 3 different domains right now. We have effi.app, which contains our website and our page and our entire software. So that actually has a website connected to that domain. Effi.app has stuff on it, connected with it. And then we have effi.co, which contains only a single link to the effi.app website. And then we also own effi.blog through WordPress, and that's our English blog right now. We might currently own one more domain if you guys have started the Korean blog on brunch and you have like effi.blog.kr, whatever you were doing. We might have one more, but I'm not sure about that because I haven't dealt with the Korean side yet, which I'll have to talk to Sarin about. So we have discussed what a domain is together before, so I won't discuss too much about this, but it's basically just that top URL. You're just paying a domain hosting service, a monthly fee, an hourly fee, a yearly fee in order to be able to have a place on the internet where someone can just type something in the top bar and it'll open whatever content you have on that page. That's all a domain is. It's basically a name. And usually you want to associate that name with like a brand and something searchable. The domain is what we want our SEO to have. We want our domain to have SEO. That's the most important thing. So go to the next page, next slide. So what are subfolders and subdomains? I included this Whiteboard Friday video that may help a little bit. There's some more information in here that you won't need. Just listen to the first half of the video, and it'll kind of explain what the difference between subdomains and subfolders are. Whiteboard Friday is really set on having a subfolder instead of a subdomain for the reasons that I've mentioned previously. His reasoning has been more strong than the past articles and videos that I've seen, and they all say that having a subfolder is better unless you have a lot of content or you want to separate, but he says that you should just not have a subdomain in general. So it's kind of an interesting watch if you want to watch that to understand a little bit more about the whole subfolder and subdomain situation. So the subfolder and subdomain situation right now is the major argument that we have of Effi.co/blog, which is a subfolder, and blog.effi.co, which is a subdomain. So let's start out with subfolders. Subfolders and subdomains are all connected to a major domain. So our main domain is Effi.co. You might find this interesting in that www is actually a subdomain itself. So like if we had www.effi.co, it would have a subdomain. That might be kind of confusing, but I found it kind of interesting. So that's just a side note. But basically the subfolder is having /blog or having blog.effi.co. So yeah, subfolders and subdomains are still connected to the main domain. So even if we have blog.effi.co, it will still be connected to effi.co. So it's better than what we currently have, which is effi.blog, which is not connected to effi.co at all. So take, for example, a subfolder is more, take, for example, a company that makes face masks and is just starting to make a foot cream. So a subfolder would be the pages, like if they had a website, a subfolder of like facemasks.com would be like facemasks.com/ingredients or facemasks.com/studies or facemasks.com/real results or something like that. They're all connected. It's all like down a hierarchy of effects. But if you're doing a subdomain, then, and we're still using the same example, we would have facemasks.com, and then we would have footcream.facemasks.com, because it's a completely different product that we're selling. So it's still being sold by Face Masks Corporation, but it's it's still being sold by Face Masks Corporation, but it's a different product entirely, so we want to market it differently. We still want to market it with Face Masks brand, because we've already built a brand with our face masks, but we want to build its own identity, so we'd give it a subdomain. So that's the main difference between each. Google has, let's see, I think that's on the next slide. So, new slide. Yeah, new slide. So, the impact on SEO, I included the video of Google's YouTube page describing how they treat subdomain and subfolder when it comes to SEO. So, they have stated that they do not crawl, and crawl is like Google's SEO term for searching through the website to make sure that it is the best result for the customer. It's like that periodical table of SEO that I showed you in that one presentation. So I included this video if you want to look at it and interpret it your own way. You can read some of the comments, and that's kind of like other customers' opinions and cases and trials with subdomains and subfolders. So reading through some of the comments on YouTube is kind of interesting. But I didn't use any of that for my research because I don't know how valid it is. But you can read through that if you want some more look into actual possible results of each one of these. So in the video he states that Google does not crawl subdomains and subfolders differently in any way. They still read it that it's part of the same web page, so they'll still bring up the home page, and they still view that this content is affecting this content, and that they're all part of a similar brand. So it does improve our brand image even when it is a subdomain. The major problem, though, that Google does not talk about, that people who have done research and other like SEO professionals, and why they suggest you should do a subfolder instead of a subdomain, is because Google treats our backlinks differently. In a way, Google doesn't treat it differently, but our website treats it differently. So as I've stated previously, offsite links are when other websites with high authority themselves, so other websites that have SEO ranking and are trustworthy according to Google. This currently does not include our blog nor our social media, because we have like 0 followers. We're not really mentioned by anybody else on social media at this moment, so any sort of link that we have on our social media back to our homepage is going to mean nothing to SEO. Our blog also does not have high SEO. It has higher SEO than our social media for sure, but except for LinkedIn. LinkedIn has pretty good SEO, which is why we're focusing on it. Yay, Sarin, good job. But our blog right now has a little bit of SEO just because it is WordPress and it does have Yoast in it right now. But I haven't really posted any quality content because I'm kind of waiting on the SEO agency's opinion. And also to get everyone organized and make sure that we're on the same track and we're not wasting time or feeling like worthless or anything like that. So I want to take these couple of weeks just to organize ourselves. And then we can start doing content and stuff when I start doing the tasks. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's not till the last part of this presentation. So, as I've said before, offsite links are when other websites with high authority mention our domain with a link. This leads Google to believe that we are more credible and in turn will give us higher SEO. So the more people that mention us with a link. Okay, so back to the presentation. So yeah, it's all about the links when it comes to subfolder and subdomain. Links are very, out of your mouth, out. Links are very important to SEO. As I've mentioned in the periodic table, links give us authority. Basically, links will give us almost all of our offsite SEO. Like 95% of our offsite SEO comes through links. And then like 404 arrows and redirects are all part of technical SEO. So links are very important to SEO in that sense. So change the slide. Here are some infographics that kind of describe more of the impact subfolders and subdomains have on SEO. So if you look at the first one, here are 3 different subdomains of the site.com, as they put it. So let's say familylaw.site.com has 23 different links to it from different websites. Familylaw.site.com is going to get all those 23 links, but like personaljury.site.com won't receive any effect from those links at all. It will just be the 23 links that are to familylaw.site.com, and it's only going to affect familylaw.site.com. It's not going to affect site.com, and it's not going to affect personalinjury.site.com. And if you look at all the other ones, like the 20 links on those, they're not going to affect each other. Like, if familylaw.site.com has 23 links, that's not going to give authority to site.com, if that makes more sense. So the offsite SEO is going to be weaker for whatever subdomain has less links. So if we constantly have authoritative people linking to Effi.co, then Effi.co will get all those authoritative links, but blog.effi.co won't get those links, or won't get the SEO effect of those links. But we're in a position right now where we are on WordPress, and WordPress already offers off-site links in itself. Like, off-site SEO is pretty strong in WordPress. If we do the blog, effi.co/blog, obviously the links are going to be better all around, but it's not going to be the end of the world at the moment if we do a subdomain. Stop. It's not going to affect our WordPress too bad just because it's going to stay a WordPress. But if you look at the other infograph to your right, this is a graph of the same 3 website pages, but these 3 website pages are all subfolders instead of subdomains, and you can see that they affect each other. So off there in the corner it says site.com has 63 links in total because people have been linking to all of these websites. So on the left side, this all subfolders affect main pages SEO. And then over here, it only affects the subdomain's main pages SEO, if that makes more sense. So this is why SEO companies, there are 2 reasons why SEO companies believe it's great to have subfolders instead of subdomains. So the links is the main reason. Especially since our blog is our content creator, there's going to be more active links and constant creation. The constant creation will still affect effi.co even if it's blog.effi.co, but the links to our content creation won't affect it. So just because that's so active, we'll have so many more links to it. So it would be best to have it effi.co/blog if possible. For that purpose is that all links will affect effi.co. I think these infographics are easier to understand than just my words sometimes. So if you look at these infographics, then you can see more of the issue with subfolder and subdomain. So our current issue with subfolder and subdomain, which I did not make a slide for, so you can just stay on here, is the difficulty in integrating our web page into a subfolder. CEO and Jung have contacted developers, and they say that it is possible to change the blog into a subfolder instead of a subdomain. In my contact with GoDaddy, they said that that was not possible, and that GoDaddy and WordPress, they said that you had to have it as a subdomain because they don't offer that service, but we might be able to do that designer-wise. And so we'll probably go with that plan of having the designers implement effi.co/blog, as to my knowledge. I believe that's the direction with it we're going to go. So, we are, new slide. We are changing our direction now to more current issues. So we have 3 domain hosting websites that we're looking at. We have GoDaddy, WordPress, and AWS. So, next slide. GoDaddy is Effi's current hosting service. We have 2 active GoDaddy accounts, one with Effi.app and one with Effi.co. So our Effi.app account expires soon, and so we're going to switch everything over to our Effi.co account and have it all on one account. So, yeah, we have those 2 accounts, and we're going to switch over to Effi.co, so we should only have one GoDaddy account. GoDaddy is used by millions worldwide, but it's currently in political controversy due to its sexist commercials and its support of game hunting, like killing animals for sport, endangered animals, and then also it's also in legal water for supporting a company that did some, I think it was financial problems. So they have a lot of people that are kind of going after them in their service right now. Recently, they were attacked by hackers, and some of their domains have gone down because of that. So it's kind of like an iffy business hosting website just right now because they're in such a controversy and they're not really apologizing for it. But what GoDaddy does is it offers a blank domain and a certain amount of bandwidth. It's very simple, user-friendly, anyone can use it. It offers very limited amount of things you could possibly do. It charges you on a monthly basis, very straightforward on how much you're going to get charged. But the one downside to having it being so easy and so you don't have to be a professional to use it is that if something goes wrong, it's so hard to fix because they don't know how. Or they don't have the easy capability because their helpline is like basically the same as us. They'll give you the same information that you already know. Like, did you check this? Did you check this? I'm not sure how to do this. I can't do it on my side. Like, they only have the same options that we have. And more than likely, they'll just try to sell you something. So that's a major problem. Like with our subfolder and WordPress problem right now, we can't get it solved on GoDaddy ourselves. We have to have developers do it just because GoDaddy does not offer that service. So that's the one downside to GoDaddy, but the plus side is also that it's straightforward on its pricing and it's easy to use. Our next domain hosting website is WordPress, which is kind of iffy on whether it is actually a hosting website or not. Most of my research came across it as an open source content management system instead of a hosting website. So most people don't use WordPress to create their entire website. If you're just creating a store, like an online store, or you're creating an online blog, or you're doing content, then WordPress is what you want to do. But if you have a technological product, then you're not going to want to use WordPress for it because it doesn't have good bandwidth and it's not very, it doesn't offer you a blank canvas. You have to use a template or a theme. So it's mostly just for blog creation. And to make your website pretty, you can add plugins if you want to sell things or monetize your website. So it's kind of more along the lines for those types of business. I read that it takes 33% of all websites are hosted by WordPress, but those websites are mostly content-based or small shop-based, in which you don't have a product underneath your website. So this isn't a domain that we can move Effi into. I think Jiyoung was telling me that not everyone, but like a group of people were thinking that they would create a WordPress homepage so that they'd be able to connect the blog super easy to it. But I don't know if that will necessarily work. Like, you're going to create a subdomain and then you're going to create a subfolder off that subdomain. I feel like that would be too much subbing, if that makes sense. In my own personal opinion, I feel like that'd be too much subbing. But we can always ask the SEO agency what they believe. I also feel like it'd be super hard to design what we wanted to do with our homepage. It's easier than GoDaddy, of course, because GoDaddy doesn't have design unless you buy that part of GoDaddy. But it's way harder than Unbounce. Like, Unbounce, you can like drag and drop and put videos wherever you want, type anything you want. WordPress has built-in themes, and then you can change a little bit of these themes, just a little bit, like colors and fonts and whatnot, and you can add some widgets, but you have to keep the basic theme and you can't change it unless you know coding. And I'm not quite sure unless you know like CSS script in order to change any sort of design element. So you still have to have a basic encoding, which none of us currently do at Effi. I mean, I did Python once and JavaScript for a little bit, but it's not like I can code anything without Google. So, yeah, it would be really hard to design, and I believe that's kind of why some people were suggesting that we'd move our intro page to WordPress, was because it'd be easier to design and do A/B testing, and that's not true. I feel like if we are going to do A/B testing, then we should keep that on Unbounce and just use that as a subdomain, our Unbounce page as like a landing page.effi.co or something like that. And just to improve our homepage and just keep our homepage effi.co. Or effi.co intro or something like that. Yeah, so that's WordPress. So last domain hosting website, we have AWS. I included a really, really long, boring video. You can watch it if you want, but you don't have to watch it. It's just telling you what the domain name system is within AWS. AWS is powered by Amazon, and it is Amazon's website making tool. So this was what was suggested by Victorious for us to change to if we were going to change out of GoDaddy. They suggested that we change to this because they have found speed issues within GoDaddy is what they said. They found speed issues within GoDaddy. I have not found any research backing up that statement, however, that GoDaddy has slower loading speeds or anything like that. It might be if you add more website pages and you take up more bandwidth, it might get slower and AWS doesn't, but I'm not sure on what exactly Victorious means by they've run into problems with the speed in GoDaddy. But as for AWS, it's very complicated, but so you need to do research or definitely take a training course on AWS if anyone's going to deal with this. And the whole marketing team will probably deal with AWS. So in order to create a domain, you have to use multiple programs first. And I'm not sure whether you have to pay for each one of these programs separately. So we'll definitely have to look into that if we ever decide to go with AWS. They offer many different options just beyond just domain hosting. So they also offer like design tools and stuff like that. You get this giant drop down menu and you have to choose between all these giant big words. So once again, that hits on you kind of have to be a professional at AWS in order to understand it. But Amazon does offer this school in which I got this video from that we can do research on if we feel like we want to move away from GoDaddy. So going on with the comparison to GoDaddy, it's easier to fix when we have a problem. It's easier to contact Amazon's Amazon's customer service. I read their customer service is more professional than GoDaddy's because they're not used as much. So they actually have professionals that will get in contact with you. Professionals that will get in contact with you. Yeah, so AWS has some help guidelines with that, and also it offers more abilities than GoDaddy does, so it's easier for us to change it on our end without having to code or getting someone to code for us. But once again, that's going to be easier for us to understand. Yeah, so that's basically AWS in a nutshell. As GoDaddy charges monthly for their service, and it's very straightforward for what you get. You get a certain amount of bandwidth a month, and you get charged a certain amount a month, and that's it. As for AWS, they charge your usage per hour per bandwidth you use. So some people say that AWS is cheaper than GoDaddy, and some people say it's a lot more expensive. It just depends on how much traffic that you get to your company. So AWS is less certain on how much you're going to spend monthly, which might be a benefit when we're a small company, but it also might be a negative in that we don't know how much we're going to get charged. So yeah, those are our domain hosting websites. We have GoDaddy, WordPress, AWS, and a short overview. GoDaddy is what we currently have. It's a blank domain hosting website. Very simple. We have WordPress, which is basically content creation management instead of a domain hosting website, so it can't hold our product. And then we have AWS, which is more complicated, offers more professional options, domain hosting. You get it basically, instead of getting developers, you do it yourself. But you still would have to go through a lot of research. So, next slide. Effi's 3 options. So we have option 1, which I titled Subdomain, option 2, which I titled Subfolder, and option 3, which I titled WordPress Switch. So option 1, Subdomain, goes like this. We're going to change to Effi.c on GoDaddy or AWS, whichever one we decide. I personally think we should just stick with GoDaddy because it's what we know, but we can decide on our own. As a team, not on our own. And then step 2 would be map the WordPress page into Effi.co using blog.effi.co and leave it as a separate domain, which would mean we wouldn't need developers' help on. We could do that ourselves. Or we have option 2, which is a subfolder, and it goes as we would change to Effi.co on GoDaddy or AWS. Once again, I suggest GoDaddy. It's because it's what we know, and we already have Effi.co domain on that website. But that's just a suggestion based on not much. In order to simplify the work and get things moving, I would just suggest going staying at GoDaddy. But if we decide quickly, we can move to AWS for sure. And then step 2 in option 2 is use developers to connect blog into Effi.co, so it would come out as Effi.co/blog. And then option 3 is a WordPress switch, which I am not fully aware what the plan on this was. I just heard from Jiong last minute before she left us that this was being discussed. So these are the 3 steps that I kind of gathered from that last minute meeting. And that was step 1, change to Effi.co on GoDaddy or AWS. Step 2, create another subdomain with WordPress for our main page. For example, intro.effi.co would be our subdomain. Like, we create a separate WordPress page for that. And then step 3 would be connect the WordPress page into Effi.co by connecting it to the subdomain intro.effi.co. So like making entry.fo.co/blog. So we'd have Effi.co, which would be our main domain, which would hold our product, I believe. And then we would have intro.effi.co, which is what everyone would click on. And then we'd have intro.effi.co/blog, which would help with the content links to intro.effi.co. I personally will wait till we get to the option 3 slide for me to talk about that. But those are our basic overviews. So stay on the Effi's 3 options page. So option number 1 is the subdomain. That will currently be the easiest option because we don't have to get like developers or anything. We can just all switch it just now in-house. Maybe we still have to get developers to change to Effi.co, so it might not be the easier option. Or we have option 2, which is my favorite option. I think this is the option we should go with, just because of the whole offsite links and knowing that developers can actually link the blog as a subfolder is a great plus. And then we wouldn't even have to deal with having to map it ourselves like we would in option 1. So option 2, our subfolder, is to me the best option. I think we should stick with GoDaddy. This is my personal opinion, and we can discuss it as we wish with logical questions and whatnot, and finding out research to those logical questions. But in my personal opinion, I think we should stay with GoDaddy because it's what we know, and we already have the domain for that, because I don't want to get rid of our Effi.co domain at GoDaddy so that we can add it to AWS and then end up losing it in that transaction. I don't want to have that risk. So I think we should stick with GoDaddy and just change Effi.app all over to Effi.co. And when we change over to Effi.co, we should talk to our developers in order to have that /blog, just so that we have that additional offsite links, because we would have our content constantly putting out. And so when our content gets linked, it will affect our intro page. And I think that's important to SEO. It would be more easier for us to do option 2 in the long run. So that's why I would choose option 2. As for option 3, I don't know the logic behind this option. I know I did mention that we could just have a fancy WordPress as our intro once, but after working with WordPress more, I realized that it would be difficult to implement, to actually have all of our A/B testing and suggestions and moving things around like unbounce is so easy to do that. WordPress is not easy to do that. So I feel like we should keep our unbounce pages to do A/B testing, and we can just do those as a subdomain of effi.co. So this WordPress switch situation, I don't think is going to work out at all. So I would highly suggest not doing option 3. Not only because of the whole content design and website design issue, but because we'd also have to download WordPress.org, and then at the same time I'm not sure whether we'd have to pay again, and mapping our blog into our new intro.effi.co WordPress page might be really hard too. So that whole option 3 is too confusing with a not positive outcome. So this is how I would imagine our future page to lay out throughout our SEO agency year. So we go with option 2, and we would have two different domains. We'd have a subdomain that is like try.effi.co or like landingpage.effi.co or something like that. So yeah, option 3, too confusing. Oh, no, I was describing how I envisioned Effi's layout. So we'd have 2 subdomains. We'd have one that's just our landing page, in which we can A/B test throughout our SEO agency year of what we want our landing page to look like. Then we have effi.co, which will hold all of our actual website, and all of our links will be connected. So we can have like effi.co/blog, in which we'd have our WordPress blog, and then we can have effi.co/blog-kr, which could be our Korean blog on brunch, and then we have effi.co/product or something, which can be our actual product. So just having those 2 subdomains, and then having a bunch of subfolders within the effi.co main domain. That's how I envision, and I feel like that would be the easiest way throughout my research in order for the SEO agency to give us appropriate guidelines, and also for us to gain authority in Google's crawl, as stated in the previous part of the presentation. So, next slide. We are on to the SEO Agency's offer. So the SEO agency that I am currently promoting that we go with is Victorious. So Jiyoung gave me 3 different SEO agencies that she called and researched into in America. And of those 3 agencies, Victorious was definitely the number 1 option. If you type in SEO agency into Google, Victorious is the number 1 that shows up. It was rated 2018 Agency of the Year by a lot of research companies. It's also a startup itself, so it's really, it knows the struggles we're going through, and it knows how to offer us guidance. Everyone there has been so kind to us so far too. So here's a little basic overview of what they offered us in their 1-year plan. Their 1-year plan is the smallest plan they have. So in this 1-year plan, they will map our keywords, track our data, organize our content creation, create offsite backlinks through their own authoritative websites, share our product to authoritative resources, and fix any errors or redirects. So they're going to completely change our website with us. They're going to work completely with us. I just realized that I should probably add, they will A/B test with us and help us fix our design for our landing page as well. So I'll add that in here right now. A/B test landing page design, in which we will be making these designs, I believe. So that will be part of the task that I send out to you. A/B testing landing page design. And so that's what they'll be offering us. I recently sent them another email after clarifying the whole Korean marketing situation with Surin. So I recently clarified the whole Korean marketing situation with Surin. So I sent them an email back after their questioning on like what the Korean marketer actually does. And in this email, I asked them 2 questions. I asked them how often they're going to communicate with me about their findings, what they're doing, and what they plan to do and what they need from us. How often they're going to communicate that was my first question. And the second question was I asked them for an example contract. In their proposal, they just gave us a proposal and not a contract. So I asked them for an example contract for the 1-year plan for both the growth tier and the beginning tier, which I forgot what the actual title was. But it's like their basic tier. So I asked them for the first 2 tiers, contract-wise. And so once I get those, I'll look over them. The legal speak, I've taken a few law classes before, and I recently took a business law class, so I can look into some of the legal language and see whether the contract actually has any weird like loopholes or anything in it before we sign. So that is the email I sent out today. And that's the offer they're offering us. I really hope we go with Victorious if we have the money. They are a little on the spendy side because they are an American company and they are ranked number 1. So they're a little on the spendy side, but so yeah, that's what Victorious is offering us, and my opinion on Victorious as of now. I believe that we should go with Victorious just because they have helped us so much and they seem well organized, which will help us in our organization in the future, which is something I really want to implement, is organization, because that's going to help everyone with our uncertainty and our feelings of drowning and confusion and stress. If we just organize everything, we'll feel a lot happier. If you look at this graphic, I just added a simple graphic from their home page, just showing some of their past experiences in their rise of SEO. So, last slide. Slide 13. So this is my suggested timeline of what's going to happen. So Friday, I put these in your guys' dates and not my dates. So Friday, which would be tomorrow for you guys, I want to have a marketing team Skype interview. So I can like Skype into you guys and see where everyone's at, see if everyone understands what's going on, and see what I've missed throughout this week that I've been gone. And just to check in to see how everyone's feeling, whether they're feeling anxiety or whether they're feeling happiness, whether they're fitting in well and stuff like that, because I know you guys just came and then everyone left. So I want to make sure everyone's happy and motivated. So I want to have that Skype interview just to go over that. And we can figure out a time to do that after you guys view this presentation. And also, I'd like to have an SEO offer discussion at the same time through that Skype email. Hopefully, I'll be able to get that contract in the morning tomorrow. My morning. So while you guys are sleeping, and I can look over that contract in the morning. So I can offer you guys the greatest information, and we can make a decision based on how much money we have, like what Chun-Hee says, how much money we have, and what CEO wants, and we can offer up a decision to Victorious. On Saturday, if we come to a decision on our Skype interview, on Saturday I will contact the SEO company about our decision. Just because your Saturday is our Friday, so I can contact them on Saturday and it'll still be business hours for us here. And then when you come into work Monday and Friday, I want to start our new task cycle and Jamie checkups that I was mentioning before. I am thinking about it, thinking about how to put these checkups into Slack. I realize I'll probably upload these checkups to YouTube and just give you a YouTube URL link in which you can view the checkups. The checkups usually won't be very long. They'll be like less than 5 minutes most of the time, hopefully. So yeah, we'll do those startups, new task cycle. The first few tasks might be a little vague because I haven't had Victoria's guidance so much yet. So more like things that we need to just get done. And then hopefully by Monday we'll have the SEO company starting to work with us if we come to a decision. Or we will, if we choose to deny them and not have them work for us, we will implement a different SEO strategy on Monday. So we can start working on a product in order for us to improve. We need to implement a plan ASAP because we're getting nowhere at the moment. And if we want to implement our paid subscription-based model, we should probably have some SEO before we do that. And then Friday, possibly have another Skype meeting just to check in like we are going to do this Friday. And then repeat steps 3 and 4 as we go along. So that's my basic timeline suggestions. And I believe that concludes our basic overview PowerPoint in which we can all be on the same page of where Effi is right now. I realize I might have talked fast because I'm not really talking to people right now, and I was talking kind of my normal speed for some of that. So if you guys have trouble understanding anything, you have questions, just contact me. And hopefully everything is starting to make sense. And I can't wait to Skype interview with you guys tomorrow. So stay strong, keep fighting. I know we're going to make through this, and we're going to have awesome SEO, and I just know we're going to do great things. So, stop. So, yeah, that's Jamie signing off from America. So, I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm there. Okay, so bye guys.